Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Tom.
Hey, it's our psychology unit.
It is.
Which means we're going to talk about how our minds work. A lot of times we talk about problems, or syndromes or some other, defect that people struggle with in this life. This one's interesting. It's called the imposter syndrome. If you're an imposter, you're pretending to be somebody you aren't, which is kind of fun. There was a fun movie a while back. Do you remember? It had Leonardo DiCaprio, and he could pretend he was a lot of different people. Like he was pretending he was a surgeon, an airline pilot. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah, I think it was called Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah.
It was starring, Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom
True story.
Hanks. Yeah, based on a true story indeed. I can't remember what the guy's name was, though.
Yeah, he was brilliant, though.
Yeah, but yes, he was an imposter. He was pretending to be somebody who he wasn't.
Right.
Okay, now I'm thinking my example of an imposter is that back in the 60s, with the Beatles, somebody said that Paul McCartney mysteriously died.
Oh, really? I didn't hear this.
And he was replaced by an imposter.
A conspiracy theory.
Exactly. And there are all sorts of clues in their songs. And
Really?
the picture of Abbey Road shows
scary.
Paul walking barefooted. So, that means that the
Really?
person's actually an imposter. It's not the real person. But that's just fun stuff.
Oh, that's fun.
Paul McCartney's still around.
This is real. It's not somebody pretending to be something else. It's somebody who feels that their success is really just due to luck, that they didn't earn what they have, that they weren't using their own talent or skill to get something. So, yeah, it's not a good thing to have. You need to overcome that and feel like you earned it. You deserve it. But it's something that was just identified pretty recently in 1978, so it's not that old. So let's get going, guys. We're going to read through today's unit, and then we'll talk about it. Do you frequently attribute your accomplishments to sheer luck or feel unworthy of the praise you get? If so, you're not alone. Even acclaimed award winners like author Maya Angelou and scientist Albert Einstein felt this way. This phenomenon is imposter syndrome, first identified in 1978. It's the false perception that one's success is due to luck instead of skill. Approximately 70% of people experience the feeling that they don't deserve what they've accomplished. Men and women both get it, but women are more likely to confess the fears that stem from it. Imposter syndrome is manifested as self-doubt, anxiety, perfectionism, and fear of failure. People suffering from it may have low self-confidence, constantly compare themselves to others, and overwork themselves to meet impossible internal standards. Worst of all, they fear they'll be found out, exposed as frauds, without skills or talent. While imposter syndrome has negative effects, like preventing people from asking for a raise, it also has its upside. Not only does exhibiting imposter syndrome indicate that you're keeping your ego under control, but it demonstrates that you're challenging yourself and acquiring experience. The habit of going out of your comfort zone to gain expertise shows personal growth. To cope with imposter syndrome, find a support system of friends or colleagues who encourage you. You can also try listing your accomplishments. This objective evidence will remind you of your capabilities. Try to squash the bullying, doubting voice in your head and replace it with a confident one. Finally, imagine exactly what steps you might take to achieve your goals. If you do fail at something, remember that failure still happens to even the hardest working, most talented people. Try to learn from your mistakes and move forward.
Okay, everybody, it's time to discuss the contents of today's lesson. Today we're talking about imposter syndrome. Are you skilled or are you just lucky? So we did touch on the word syndrome here at the beginning of our lesson. It's just some kind of disorder that people might have. I can think of Down syndrome that some people suffer from. I also know about Williams syndrome, which is another kind of affliction that kids have or children have and keep it until they're adults and things like that. But this one is more psychological in nature. This is imposter syndrome. Okay, it's kind of a psychological mindset, if you will. Are you skilled? Do you deserve your success, and do you have those skills? Did you earn them through legitimate hard work and practice, or are you just lucky? That's a good question, so that's the subject of today's lesson, imposter syndrome. So let's introduce this topic here by looking at the first paragraph. Do you frequently attribute your accomplishments to sheer luck or feel unworthy of the praise you get? So here we've got the word attribute, which can be a noun and a verb. Here we're using it as a verb. It just means, can you say what the cause of something is?
Can you look at something and say, oh, it came from this, or link two things together, one caused something else? Or here's another one. Do you attribute your accomplishments to sheer luck or feel unworthy? If you say something is due to sheer luck, sheer here just means only. So it's only luck. It had nothing to do with me or my talent or my skills. Sheer, if you use it as an adjective, especially for the ladies out there, you may have had some sort of clothing that was sheer, meaning you could see through it. It was very transparent and thin. But here it just means utter or just completely. So sheer luck. So sheer here doesn't really mean anything except to emphasize the word that follows it. It was only luck, nothing else. And a lot of people feel that way, and they feel unworthy if people praise them or give them a compliment even and say, oh, you did that very well, or wow, you're really talented with that. Somebody will say, oh, not really, I'm not very good. Sometimes people have a problem just feeling like they earned it.
Yeah, they think, it was just lucky. Maybe you got a hole in one the first time you went golfing.
That is luck.
Yeah, that's sheer luck. Only skilled golfers can do that. Sometimes that's called beginner's luck. Sometimes when you're a beginner, because you're not really familiar with the sport, you get lucky. But in this particular case, you might be thinking that, well, I'm really successful, I'm really smart, I got into Princeton or whatever, just because I was lucky, not because of actual skills. So that's the question here. Do you frequently attribute or explain your accomplishments because of basic luck, just dumb luck, or you feel unworthy of the praise you get? Well, if that's the case, you're not alone. Other people have the same idea. Even acclaimed award winners like author Maya Angelou and scientist Albert Einstein felt this way. Yeah, I guess Albert Einstein was kind of modest, I guess. He was a
very modest guy.
Yeah, he wasn't a real show-off or anything. Yeah, I'm so smart. Like Norman Mailer, the writer, boy, he had an ego that could fill many oceans. But Albert Einstein was quite humble here, and I guess he suffered from this. And I guess maybe I suffer from this as well because, I always dream that I have to go back and repeat my last semester of college because I work so hard. And I put all my papers off to the last minute.
Oh, that's bad, Tom.
I just whipped them off real fast, and I actually got good grades, but I thought, but I didn't deserve that. I shouldn't have procrastinated like that.
Terrible.
So I somehow feel that I didn't deserve to graduate, so I often dream that I have to go back to college. It's a recurring dream.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, like every couple of months or so, I have that dream.
Mine is I'm on stage, I'm singing, and I can't remember the words because I never learned my lyrics well enough. So I would barely know the song and I'd have to perform. So I was always, it puts more pressure on you when you do that. And if you leave your papers and you don't write your papers with enough time, you get that feeling that Tom had. And, I think we all under-prepare for the most part.
Sure.
Let's move on to the next paragraph. It says this phenomenon, this, thing that exists out there is called imposter syndrome. And it was first identified in 1978. When you're talking about mental health and you're talking about real mental health problems that have been diagnosed by psychiatrists and by psychologists both, they'll often use this language. It was first identified. It isn't that it just first started to exist. It's probably existed for centuries and, centuries, but no one named it. No one said, this group of problems or symptoms, we're going to call it this. So it was first identified back in 1978. And it's the false perception, the way you see things is false, that one's success is due to luck instead of skill, that you didn't earn it, that you didn't work hard for it, it was just luck.
Exactly, which seems kind of the opposite because most people think they deserve their success. You know, of course I deserve to have a salary of 100,000 NT dollars a month. Of course, I work hard. I'm a smart person.
Really?
Of course, I deserve that. I think a lot of people feel that way. But a lot of people don't. Well, you know, I didn't really work that hard this month, so I really don't deserve that much money. Maybe I should give some of it back to the boss or something like that. We certainly don't want you to do that.
Don't give it back to the boss. Give it to a charity.
Yeah, that was the next thing I was going to say.
Yeah,
I don't think most people feel that way. I need this money. You know, my parents are sick. I need to pay their medical bills and stuff like that. So that's what this is here, this phenomenon. It's the false perception that your success is due to just sheer luck and not skill. Now, approximately 70% of people experience the feeling that they don't deserve what they've accomplished.
Wow, that's a lot.
70% of people experience that feeling not all the time, but sometimes maybe. Most of the time they don't, but sometimes they feel, yeah, you know, I really don't deserve to go out with this girl. She's really beautiful. She's really smart. She's really attractive. I'm just some dumb bunny who barely graduated from high school.
I haven't heard dumb bunny since my mom said it. Okay, so men and women both get this. So both men and women feel this way, but women are more honest about it. They're more likely to confess the fears that stem from it, the fears that actually produce this. So if you confess, you're telling somebody something you'd really rather not tell, you know? You'd really rather keep to yourself. We use this verb to talk about people who have broken the law and they confess to the police. You know, a lot of people continue to say, oh, I'm innocent. I never did that. And then there are other crooks or criminals that actually feel like, oh, I'll just get this over with. I'll just confess and serve my time in prison. A lot of people will continue to lie until they die. Oh, I never did it. But if you confess something, what you're doing is you're expressing something you'd rather not have to tell anybody else. Sometimes you'll see this in romances, you know. Oh, he confessed his love for her. You know, maybe it was embarrassing. He didn't know she loved him back, but he confessed his love first, and then she said she loved him back.
Or maybe the government will torture you, so you confess to the crime,
Yikes.
Even though you didn't do it. This happens sometimes, I'm sure, in places like North Korea, where they just torture you until you say, oh, okay, I confess. I'm an enemy.
Didn't, right?
I'm an enemy of the state. I've collaborated with the CIA for the destruction of the North Korean state, so I deserve to be tortured and killed, etc. I confess. Okay, but in any case here, yes, I guess women are more likely to confess those fears that come from this syndrome. I guess men are too proud to confess that, I guess.
They want to look tough, you know. Oh, I don't feel that way. I'm always confident.
Or maybe they just don't have anybody to talk to about it. But
in
any case, we'll come back to this subject in just a second. It's now time to take a break. Let's hear from our Chinese teacher now.
Hello, my name is Shelby. 今天的主题是 Imposter Syndrome 冒牌症候群。这种症状不相信自己，觉得自己获得的掌声就是运气好而已。好，我们看第一题的地方 even 甚至怎么样子的获奖者，像是作家 Maya Angelou。Maya Angelou 是黑人女性作家，美国人，她的作品通常都在探索个人认同，以及像爱因斯坦这样子的科学家都有类似的感受。在第一题前面的 even 甚至是表示非比寻常或者出乎意料的这种感觉，不只是普通人。翻译成中文，即使是怎么样子的获奖者，我们来看选项 A. acclaimed 备受赞誉的， B. mutual 共同的， C. 执行实施的， D. indignant 愤怒的。这题答案选 A. 备受赞誉的。即使像爱因斯坦这种备受赞誉的人也有相同感受。第二段呢，它是在描述冒牌症候群的现象。我们看第二句的地方，大约是有 70% 的人都会有类似这种感受，他们并不怎么样子，他们所成就的。前面的句子说有这种症候群的人认为他们的成功是运气好而不是能力，表示呢，在第二题这句中，他们不应得他们所成就的事情。我们看选项 A. 评估， B. 征服， C. 给什么什么动机。D. 应得的，所以第二题答案选 D. deserve。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. We're talking about psychology and something that some people suffer from. I think a lot of people have at one point or another in their lives. Felt like whatever they had accomplished, maybe it was a raise, or maybe it was a new job they got, or for me, it might have been a solo I was picked for to sing. Some part of us thought, oh, I can't believe I got it. It was just luck. Oh, someone else should have gotten it, or I don't deserve it. A lot of people experience this feeling at some point in their lives. When we left you, we were talking about even some very acclaimed or famous people like Maya Angelou, who is a writer, just passed away just recently, I think.
Yeah, sounds
and
right.
Scientist Albert Einstein, who was quite humble. I love his life story. He's a good guy. He was a good guy. He's gone now. They actually struggled with this too. So we found out that men and women both get this syndrome. It's called the imposter syndrome. But women are more apt or more likely, more apt as APT, more likely, they're probably going to confess the fears that stem from it. I think still because men are still being told that they can't talk about their weaknesses or cry or things like that some of them never really like to talk about this out loud. Women will say it. So imposter syndrome is manifested or shown. To manifest is to show. It's manifested or seen by other people as self-doubt. So if you have friends or maybe yourself that have a lot of self-doubt, oh, I don't know if I could do this. Or anxiety, you get really anxious about things. Or maybe you're a perfectionist. For a long time I was a perfectionist. I had a boss who'd say, Steph, 80-20. You give me 80% of what you usually do and it's enough. So sometimes it's a fear of failure. We don't want to fail. I definitely have a fear of failure.
Yeah, some people don't try because they're afraid they're going to failure. So these are some of the symptoms of imposter syndrome. People suffering from it may have low self-confidence, constantly compare themselves to others, and overwork themselves to meet impossible internal standards. So they have high demands on themselves. And, of course, they have low self-confidence or low self-esteem, and they're always comparing themselves to others. Oh, I'm not as good as he is. He's so much better than me. And, of course, they overwork themselves. They work overtime. They obsess about these things. Overwork is a verb here. That means to work too much. And then, of course, you got those impossible internal standards. What you want to accomplish, yeah, you're setting the bar too high, and even you can't jump over it.
Yeah, if you set the bar so high that no one can jump over it, you're really hurting yourself. So worst of all, these people fear they'll be found out. We use quotation marks around this because it's a phrase we use sometimes. Oh, he was found out, which is it sounds like bad English, right? Bad grammar. But it's a phrase we use to just say someone was discovered doing something. Yeah, I know when I was in high school, I would get home from school and my mom would be in the back of the house and I'd quickly make up a batch of chocolate chip cookies, the dough, and then I'd run upstairs and I'd eat the dough all afternoon. And I could hear my mom yelling in, Stephanie, are you making cookie dough? But, I pretended I couldn't hear. So, yeah, I was found out. Mom always found me out. I was found out or exposed. If you're exposed, you're, open to view. People can see what's going on. If you're exposed as something, people show other people that you're not who you say you are. So you might be found out or exposed as a fraud. Frauds are people who pretend they have skills or some sort of talent, but they have none. So you don't want to be exposed as a fraud, right?
No, you don't, nor do you want to be exposed to harmful nuclear radiation, or you don't want to be exposed to harmful UV rays and things like that. So here, of course, people might be found out or exposed as frauds, as somebody who's lying and they don't have the skills or talent. Now, while imposter syndrome has negative effects, like preventing people from asking for a raise, it also has its upside. So if you suffer from this, yes, you might not ask for a raise when you actually deserve one. So that's bad.
That's terrible.
It's bad for you. It's bad for your family. But, there is a bright side. There is an upside here. Not only does exhibiting imposter syndrome indicate that you're keeping your ego under control, but it demonstrates that you're challenging yourself and acquiring experience. So if you have imposter syndrome, yes, you're keeping your ego under control. Nobody likes somebody with a big ego, somebody who thinks they know everything, they've been everywhere, they own so many expensive cars and apartments and stuff like that. Yeah, that's a big ego, but if you have imposter syndrome, you're more humble, so you're keeping that big ego under control, but you're not only doing that, you're also challenging yourself. You're giving yourself new challenges, and you're not resting on your laurels.
Yeah, if you're challenging yourself, you're going out of your comfort zone, you're doing something that feels uncomfortable because you want to grow or gain expertise. Expertise here is expert skill or knowledge. Notice I'm saying it with a Z sound, guys. Expertise, not expertise. Expertise. So, yeah, that's good for you. To cope with imposter syndrome, if you feel this way, find a support system of friends or colleagues who encourage you and tell you, hey, you're great, you should do this. My best friends were all really good about supporting each other that way. I love that about my best friends. Now, you can always try listing your accomplishments. Get out a piece of paper, write down everything that you're good at. This is objective evidence. It's not someone's opinion. These are the things that you really can do. So when you feel insecure or you have self-doubt, you can pull that out and remind yourself of all your capabilities. Capabilities are things you're capable of doing. And everybody has capabilities. You just have to, think about them. I think we don't give ourselves enough credit sometimes.
I don't have the capability to play the flute, for example. I don't have the skill. So here in the next sentence it says, try to squash the bullying, doubting voice in your head and replace it with a confident one. Here, squash just means to destroy something. You often do this to cockroaches. If you see them running across the floor, you might want to squash that cockroach, crush it or squeeze it. Get rid of this bullying, doubting voice in your head and be confident. And finally, imagine exactly what steps you might take to achieve your goals. Yes, be objective. Don't be so emotional.
If you do fail at something, remember that failure happens to even the hardest working, most talented people. Some of the people that have achieved the most have failed the most as well. So don't give up, pick yourself up, keep trying, try to learn from your mistakes and move forward. This is all really great advice. So I would keep this particular article around. I think everybody needs to look at this, whether you're in junior high, high school, college, or you've been working out there for 30 years. Keep this close by. Remind yourself to be more confident in your capabilities and ability. Right now, we're going to listen one more time to our Chinese teacher.
第3题，这种冒牌症候群怎么样子被当成自我怀疑、焦虑、完美主义和害怕失败？这些各种症状呢，可能是这种症候群的外显现象。我们来看选项 A 被提名， B manifested 被显示， C 被改造， D condemned 被谴责。 B manifested 显现出来，冒牌症候群是以自我怀疑、焦虑等现象被显现出来，所以答案选 B。 第4题，它的前面说更糟糕的是，他们害怕说他们会被发现。 Expose 是暴露，这里写成 PP 被动形式，表示没有遮掩。他们怕被揭穿为当成是怎么样子的人，没有能力或者是天赋。我们来看选项中 A 的选项是青少年， B 是外交官， C 配偶， D 是骗子。冒牌症候群的人认为自己是个没有能力的骗子，所以我们第4题答案选 D。 第5题的地方，它在第3段，那这一段呢都是关于这种症候群的利弊。我们看第5题，点点点怎么样子显示展示出冒牌症候群， indicate 指出来说，你呢会把你的自我会 under control 控制中，你能控制自我， but 而且它还显示出说你会挑战自我， acquire 是取得、获得的意思，获得一些经验。第5题空格的上一句说，它也有好的一面 ，upside 是好处。第5题这句提到，愿意显示你的冒牌症候群的话，有2个好处：控制自我以及获得经验。而逗点之后的 but 显示说，这题呢应该是要用否定副词放在句首的倒装句型 ，not only but also 不止而且，所以我们答案选 C。not only does 是助动词，放在主词的前面。请到第6题，为了怎么样子冒牌症候群，找一个支持系统是你的同事，这些人能够鼓励你。冒牌症候群既然是不好的东西，那你要找会鼓励你的同事或者朋友，也就是说，我们要一起去对抗啦、压抑啦、抵制啦这种症候群。我们来看选项 A. Cope with 对付， B. Cater to 迎合， C. Rest on 依靠， D. Engage in 致力于。第6题空格这句以及后面的4句都是讲说能够让人实际尝试的建议，而这些方式都能够对付冒牌症候群，所以答案选 A， 为了要对付冒牌症候群。第7题，怎么样子 imagine 想象，确切的想象哪一些步骤呢？你可以采取来成就你的目的。第7题呢，前面的句子是在讲各种方法，后面已经没有其他更多方式咯，所以表示第7题这句应该是最后一个方法了，选项 B finally 就很适合。以上是今天的讲解，谢谢收听。
That's it for today. Thank you very much for joining us, and please join us again next time for another edition of our program. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Bye.
Bye.